This dog was about to be abandoned by its owner for being too obedient. As the man threw the ball out, the dog obediently ran to fetch it, just as expected. But when Rocky got the ball and turned around, he discovered his owner had already boarded the plane. Rocky didn't know what he had done wrong. He stood there helplessly, looking utterly pitiful. When ground control signaled for takeoff, they were shocked to find a dog running directly in front of the plane, ignoring all danger. Rocky managed to reach the runway ahead of the plane, using his own body to block the aircraft from taking off. The pilot had no choice but to abort the takeoff. Rocky then seized the opportunity to run to the right side of the plane. He naively thought his owner had simply forgotten. As he barked desperately, everyone curiously looked out the windows. Everyone except Rocky's owner, who remained unmoved. As the pilot pulled back the control stick and the plane re-entered the runway to take off again, Rocky couldn't keep up no matter how hard he tried. This finally allowed the man to breathe a sigh of relief. Rocky reluctantly stopped only when he reached the end of the runway. Watching the plane gradually disappear from view, Rocky still couldn't believe he had been abandoned. From that day on, Rocky waited at the airport for his owner for 2 whole years. Whenever a plane landed, Rocky would stand at the stairs, hoping to find his owner's face among the disembarking passengers. But people only looked at Rocky with disgust, and some even deliberately stepped on his paws. For the passengers' safety, the airport sent security to catch Rocky. Several guards locked Rocky in a bus, promising passengers they would take him away and deal with. All of this was witnessed by a young boy who had just gotten off a plane. Ethan secretly boarded the bus, determined to save the poor dog. But Rocky, having just been hurt by humans, backed away in fear as Ethan approached, barking at him. Ethan told Rocky to calm down, assuring him, "I won't hurt you," then slowly moved toward the door button. Finally, Ethan successfully opened the bus door. Rocky quickly escaped upon seeing this. The security chief was too late to chase after him. He angrily walked up to Ethan, ready to give him a good scolding. But then the captain approached. He was Ethan's father. The security chief had no choice but to let Ethan go. But from their body language, it was clear that Ethan and his father Jack didn't have a good relationship. Late that night, Ethan snuck out. He planned to buy a ticket and leave on his own, but was met with suspicion from the ticket agent due to his young age. Yet Ethan didn't give up. He hid in the plane's landing gear compartment. However, Rocky immediately spotted him and barked continuously at Ethan. The noise quickly attracted airport personnel's attention. Ethan had no choice but to jump off the plane and hide with Rocky. The next day, Jack received a call from an airport maintenance worker. When Jack arrived, he saw Ethan had spent the night sleeping while holding the dog. Jack wanted to take his son away, but Ethan didn't want to go back with him. After his parents' divorce, Ethan had been living with his mother. Only recently, after his mother passed away, did Ethan have to come live with his father he rarely saw. To ease the tension between father and son, the maintenance worker suggested Jack go to work first to avoid missing his flight, letting Ethan stay temporarily under his care. After Jack left, Ethan complained that if it weren't for Rocky's interference, he would have been on the plane. But the old man said Rocky saved your life because once the plane reached an altitude of 10,000 meters, the freezing air would have gradually frozen you to death. Only then did Ethan realize he had wrongly blamed Rocky. Just then Rocky suddenly left. It turned out Rocky could distinguish from the noise the specific plane his owner had taken when leaving. From the maintenance worker's daughter Anna, Ethan finally learned what had happened. On that day of boarding, Rocky's owner had forgotten to bring vaccination documents. Anna had been willing to let it slide, but was stopped by her supervisor. That's how the man heartlessly abandoned the dog, who had been his companion for years. After hearing this, Ethan was deeply moved. He thought to himself, wasn't he just another Rocky? Later, Ethan came to the airport, and looking at poor Rocky, promised he would definitely help him find his owner. Under the sunset, 2 lonely hearts had quietly become intertwined. The next day, Ethan went to the airport building to ask staff for Rocky's owner's address, but the staff member was busy on the phone and had no time for Ethan. Meanwhile, Rocky continued waiting at the airport as usual. Surprisingly, on this flight, Rocky spotted a figure that looked very much like his owner. Rocky excitedly rushed over, but was blocked by arriving security. So Rocky fled directly into the airport building. In the crowd, Rocky found that figure who looked like his owner. Fighting back his excitement, he licked the man's palm. But when the man turned around, he wasn't Rocky's owner. Looking at this unfamiliar face, Rocky lowered his head in disappointment. At the same time, security guards were approaching Rocky with weapons. At this critical moment, Ethan arrived. He shouted at security not to get near Rocky. Then with Ethan's help, Rocky once again successfully escaped the encirclement. Finally, Rocky and Ethan hid in a storage room. Just as they were thinking about how to escape, someone approached. It was the staff member from earlier. She not only gave them Rocky's owner's address, but also showed the boy an escape route. As they left, Rocky looked back at the woman to express his gratitude. But not everyone was so kind. The supervisor demanded Jack take responsibility for this incident, or else resign voluntarily. To keep his job, Jack had no choice but to go to the maintenance area, bringing professional dog catchers with him. They put a rope around Rocky's head and successfully locked Rocky in a vehicle, then locked the iron door, preparing to send Rocky to the slaughterhouse. Ethan loudly begged them not to do this, but Jack remained unmoved. Only after the vehicle left, did Jack release Ethan. At that moment, Ethan must have completely hated his father. Anna couldn't stand it anymore either. She stuffed the letter Ethan had written to Rocky's owner into Jack's hands. After returning home, Ethan began packing his luggage. He'd rather go to an orphanage than stay here. Jack was angry hearing this. He took out his anger on the sweater Ethan never changed out of. Ethan said, "This is my mother's sweater, don't touch it anymore." Then Ethan asked his father, "Have you come to see me even once all these years?" But Jack said he sent money to Ethan's mother every month. Adults always think money can fill the void of family affection, not knowing what children need most is companionship. Jack then promised Ethan he would take him to the orphanage, but he had to stay home tonight. To prevent Ethan from running away at night, Jack stayed in the car to keep watch. Then Jack remembered the letter his son had written to Rocky's owner. Only after reading it did Jack understand what had happened. It read, "Your dog Rocky was left by you at the airport. He has waited for you for a long time and has never left. Even though people want to drive him away, he still persists in waiting for you. I think Rocky is smarter than many people. Although he's smart, he doesn't know why you left him here. Without you, he's very sad. Nothing is worse than realizing your parents have abandoned you or forgotten. It's like you don't exist at all. So will you come take Rocky home?" This letter was more like Ethan's inner confession. At this moment, Jack finally understood how much his absence had hurt his son. Seeing his son would rather stand in the rain than be with him. Jack felt like a failure. So Jack caught up with his son and said to him, "Get in the car, let's bring Rocky back."